Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this time when we're thinking actually about trust. That word trust is so important in our lives, isn't it? And who we trust. And that's, we're thinking also about friends, aren't we, in that sense? Who is a real friend? And a real friend is someone that you can trust. We have to be careful, don't we, in our trust. As you know, I'm a vicar because I've got this collar on here. My brother, who is my twin brother, born at exactly the same time. He was a vicar over in New Cross in South London, and I remember him telling me a story, a true story obviously, of him allowing a chap into his house who was troubled and allowed the chap to stay overnight. He gave him some food and he allowed him to stay overnight, gave him a bed and so on, which was something that he really wanted to do because he knew this person was in need and he wanted to do something for him. And my brother had to go out the following morning after having given the chap some breakfast. When he came back, the man had gone. Not only had he just gone without saying anything, but he had stolen my brother's stereo set that he had, so he'd gone off with that. Now, that doesn't mean to say we don't trust anyone or don't give to people in that way, but it does mean that we need to be wise, that word wisdom in that. We're going to have a story now which may be able to make that a bit clearer for us.
This is a story not from the Bible, but from a book called Aesop's Fables, and it's called The Fox and the Crow. One bright morning, as the fox was following his sharp nose through the wood in search of a bite to eat for breakfast, he saw a crow on the branch of a tree overhead. This was by no means the first crow the fox had ever seen, but what caught his attention this time and made him stop for a second look was that the lucky crow had a beautiful piece of cheese in her beak. No need to search any further, thought sly Mr. Fox. Here is a dainty bite for my breakfast. So up he trotted to the foot of the tree in which the crow was sitting, and looking up admiringly, he cried, "Good morning, beautiful creature." The crow, her head cocked on one side, watched the fox suspiciously, but she kept her beak tightly closed on the cheese and did not return the greeting. "Oh, what a charming creature she is," said the fox. "How her feathers shine. What a beautiful form, and what splendid wings. Such a wonderful bird. She should have a very lovely voice, since everything else about her is so perfect. I wonder, could she sing just one song? I know I should hail her as Queen of the Birds." Listening to these flattering words, the crow forgot all her suspicion and also her breakfast. She wanted very much to be called Queen of the Birds, so she opened her beak wide to utter her loudest caw, and down fell the piece of cheese straight into the fox's open mouth. "Thank you," said Mr. Fox sweetly as he walked off. "Though it's cracked, you have a voice sure enough." "That is just what I wanted. But can I give you a piece of advice in exchange for your cheese? When people pay you compliments, they may not always be able to be trusted."
Well, that's a story that makes things very clear, doesn't it? The crow really had all these compliments given, but didn't realise that underneath all those compliments, the fox was after something. It wasn't really being a friend. He was complimenting because he had an underlying reason for doing that, and that was to get that lovely cheese that he had his eyes on. I wonder if you also, maybe one of the children is your friend, or maybe just an ordinary classmate, as it were, that you've been kind to, and have received compliments from that person about your kindness or whatever. And then suddenly you've been let down. You've realised, you've thought, oh, that person wasn't really thinking about me, really. They were thinking about what they wanted. And so we don't want to always be thinking that others have these ways underneath. We don't always want to be thinking that other people have these motives, these ways of seeing underneath. They want what they want, and they're going to do that and just give us compliments because they want what they want. We don't always want to be thinking in that way, but we do need to be careful about people who give us compliments in that way, people who are kind to us and have other reasons for doing that. So we have to use our wits, which means our wisdom. We have to think about that, and really be able to trust people and be able to test them and know that they are people that we can trust. And we have to be particularly careful, obviously, about strangers we don't know, and that we have to be careful about trusting them. So let's close our eyes and pray to this God who we can trust, because he loves us and wants the very best for us. Dear Lord, help us in our lives to know who to trust. Give us wisdom. Help us not to trust just anyone, to be able to test that trust as well. And help us, Lord, also to be good friends to others, and that they may be able to trust us, to rely on us. Help others to know that they can look at us and know that we are a trustworthy person.